welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared, and we are back once again with another episode of Comics versus Prose number 16. That's right. Uh, so today we'll be going over Assassin's Apprentice 3, number 4, which is, the 16th issue in this series, by Darkhorse Comics. Once again, written by Robin Hobb and Jody Houser. The script by Houser, illustrated beautifully by Ryan Kelly, with colors by Jordie Bellaire and letters by Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou, I think. And the cover by Anna Steinbauer. Once again, we're going to get into the thick of it here. Probably going to make this episode a little quicker. Those of you who have actually stuck around here for the full 16 episodes, you know the deal by now, right? This is a very, very, very close adaptation. The words on the page in the book are fairly well matched with the words that go into the comic. And that has been a mainstay, especially for this third part, so far. So, of course, the first thing I'm going to do is contradict that, right? So, the interesting part of it here is we pick up in the book, with this issue starts, we pick up in the book in the middle of chapter 19. And I would say actually towards the end of chapter 19. And so there is a lot of explanation. The Fitz in the whole troop, the royals, are heading into this new land called Chiruta or something like that. And so they are, they're looking for a marriage alliance. So they're heading into this land. Fitz has his mission, and there's a lot of description in the book that is left to artwork in the comic. So they're leaving out a lot of the narrative, even though, the page looks kind of jam-packed, but there's a lot left out. And that, like the first page in the comic, covers a full 3 pages in the book. So that's been a little bit of a change from the last 2 issues, where it was pretty much 1-to-1, And so that continues on, and I think I have a little note here. Let's see here. Just there's one little change in the word usage that they use for the book in the first page, where he said in the book, it says, I could devise a way that to be he's sure he would encounter it at a safely distant time, whereas in the comic it says I could arrange a way. So it makes you wonder about that choice of word change, why they would change devising a way to arranging a way to do something, and what the difference is in that meaning. So you can I'm sure there's like little substance, they're synonyms, but there are little subtle differences there about arranging something or devising. Devising means you're kind of coming up with it a little more on the fly, using wits in the moment, whereas arrange means it feels a little more planned. So they change it to arrange, and it kind of gives Fitz a little more agency in the comic version there. But and this is done with Robin Hobb's oversight. So it's there's a point to changing that. So we go to page 2. That was on page 2 that they changed that. Pretty much word for word, and then a bunch of description. Once again, there's a lot of a lot of in the artwork. They're using once again this kind of almost black and white sepia tone to indicate Fitz's thoughts about something, of what he's thinking about. They're giving a picture of what he's thinking about from the description, uh, but it's not actually happening. It's just what he's thinking is going to happen. So they use that. They use this kind of reddish sepia tone here, or ochre tone, or whatever you want to call it, that to indicate that a bunch of stuff happening in time passing. And so the picture you see is just a little glimpse of what happened in that passage of time within that panel. And so once again, the colors using those tones to indicate such matters. And there's a lot of great artwork in here that shows the pictures and the buildings, and there's a lot of description of those, but they don't use that description in the comic. They allow the artwork to paint those pictures, and that continues on. We end page 3 with the end of the end of chapter 19 here, moving on into chapter 20, which is all about Jampe. I think that's how you say it. And in here, once again, you're meeting a new people. You're encountering their customs. You're encountering their way of life, and that's hard to display upon a comic book page without a ton of explanation. In the book here, once again, there's a bunch of explanation. There's 2 pages of explanation, and the artwork and the narrative in here are trying to convey that as best they can. They got to condense it down. They had to use less words, but very, very good job. Very good job. And as we move along here, we get to a couple of things here where the artwork shows off. And yes, the tree. The description of the tree here. I don't know if you can see that tree in the background there. They show that in the artwork, and how it's the center of the whole hall and how it supports everything. That's all described on this long section in here, and of course it's relegated to one panel in the book. So, because you got to have room to do the comic and move things along. And so well done for what it was. But this is one of those situations where there might be some beautiful descriptions that are missed, that can't be conveyed with the limited time that the comic has to show you the story that it wants to show you. And so in this case, I think the book wins out in this case, because the comic, when I read the comic first, I didn't think I really missed anything, but when I read the book afterwards, I was like, wow, there's a lot of beautiful description that Hobb uses in here to describe these scenes. And so it's definitely worth it to do both, because the artwork is just beautiful in this thing. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. And so moving along, we have our usual things here. Usual dialogue is taken right from the book. This is through page 5, 6, 7, 8. Page 7 was pretty condensed. It was 1 for 1 in here, and I just like how these things were put out, were displayed in the comic. And once again, we have Fitz thinking of scenery, or even the girl here. What was her name? The princess was thinking of scenery that happened previously, so they put it in a different color tone. And I even love how they use the colors to indicate that it's nighttime. That's kind of bluish background there that definitely displays a different color palette that you would see during the night rather than in the bright of day. So the interesting event in here is Fitz gets poisoned, and it's really cool how it all plays out. I love how the artwork uses this black panel to indicate his lack of consciousness. But it's not just that, but it's also his other dire straits because he could die here. He has it also indicates his own despair at being duped into this situation and being duped by an amateur. Really, he's supposed to be a trained assassin. At this point, he was sent on this mission, and so he had the tables turned on him. And I think that black spot in that moment just indicates how deep his despair and his situation is. And then it slowly comes out of that as Fitz comes out of that. And so I thought that was really well done. And so the rest of the issue continues on here. There are a few moments where in the book it's in Fitz's head, because this is first person, so it's Fitz saying somebody said this, that, and that. Whereas in the comic, they display it as dialogue, actual dialogue. So I like how they do that because it really gives more. You would just see Fitz writing, or you would see Fitz just sitting there thinking, like this. But it's actually, you have more back and forth between the characters with them switching it to dialogue in the comic. So very cool stuff all the way through. Let me see if there's any other notes I put. And yeah, we have page 12. Yes. And yeah, no, this is this continued on. We ended with we went through the whole of chapter 20 in this issue, and we moved right into chapter 21 right away. And these two last chapters had very, very little epigraphs. That, unlike the previous earlier chapters in the books that had, a couple paragraphs worth of epigraph, these ones had very little because there was a lot of action going on as far as Fitz's situation getting poisoned, and it was continual from chapter to chapter. So there wasn't much he wrote there. And the as the action increased towards the end of this book, it started to latch on more closely to what was happening in the book, and it started to be more of a one-to-one match, and until it ended right in the middle of the chapter. So we end right in the middle of chapter 21, and I am so looking forward to the last two issues are coming out in the next 2 months, and we only have like 50 pages left in this book. And so my 2-year journey through Assassin's Apprentice is almost over, and I'm happy about that because it's been a long time to get through, just a 430-page book here, but it's been an interesting journey. It's been a unique type of journey. I don't think I've never done this before, so it was really, really unique. All right. So if you've been following along, I only have 2 months left with this, and we will be done. And I thank you for following along with me. If you read the if you read Assassin's Apprentice, you can easily catch up with the books. They come in collections now. So as a volume 1, as a volume 2, and the volume 3 is still coming out in single issues, and you can easily catch up with that stuff. And yeah, catch me on the next month for the second to last one, and then the month after for the last issue of Assassin's Apprentice. And that's it for today. So, as always, be good to each other, and thank you for watching.